Welcome back. I'm Fiona Mboa here at Church of Uganda Family TV with Ring Diaries. And before we went for the break, we're here with Reverend Benjamin and we're discussing about mistrust in marriage. And before we went for the break, we said, especially when you see it is getting too much, we need to handle some of those situations before they actually break our marriages. So Reverend Benjamin, what are those things? I think we've hinted on them a bit. Those things that when you start to see it, you're like, I think mistrust has made its way into our marriage. What are those things we should look out for? I think before we talked about if you start checking your spouse's phone when they are sleeping, you should pause and you're like, I think something has actually entered my mind or my heart about this. So what checklist what can we check out for?
Mistrust is when you speak to, one of the signs that we should also look at is when you speak to them and they don't actually believe you anymore. It gets to that level when you speak and you're telling your spouse something and they take it no more, or they never put any kind of seriousness in it. Maybe they are really having enough of you, and they have gotten themselves in a way that whatever you speak may not be truth.
But that means you've said very many lies.
Yeah. It comes as a series, it comes out of series of lies that you may have painted in the heart of your spouse. That even if you say something, they simply look at you and say, okay.
But yet they don't believe.
And yet they don't believe.
And that's very sad. And you reminded me of some child who said, my father said he's coming back tomorrow, but I'm sure he's not. Like, I'm imagining that as my husband, I feel that would be really sad.
That would be sad. That is an indicator that actually the mistrust, the lies have developed a lot of mistrust, and now it is a normal situation. They're expecting the worst. And anything you say may not make more sense or may not bring someone to be excited over the decision you're about to take.
So in those cases, even when we tell people, I'll first have to see it.
That's exactly. I'm sure someone out there is in that kind of state where they say, even if my wife tells me or makes a promise, I can't be excited. Until I actually see it, my eyes, they become the Thomases. The doubting Thomas, they always want to see because of the series of lies that have developed in people's lives, that their spouses are not actually convinced.
Wow. And now imagining if you can't convince your spouse,
who can you convince?
Who are you going to convince in this world?
So I think people should work on their tongue and try to be truthful.
Especially with your spouse. I think it's very important.
There is a couple that I got to know, and I was asking the wife where the husband could be, and then she opened up to me and told me, you know what? It is true. My husband, we can call him and he can say that I'm in Bali when he's in the neighborhood. So I no longer even ask where he is because it is none of my business now. Because it wouldn't be of any importance for me to know and know lies. So I would rather stay in greening what I don't know anything, so that I do not expect anything to make me more angry. So I would rather not ask him where he is and wait for him to come home. Wherever he has been, that's none of my business.
Reverend, now let me derail you a bit. How come it is so easy for us to tell our friends the truth, but yet lie to our spouses?
I had a conversation with a friend of mine in regards to that, because they thought that sometimes they're being protective to their wives. They don't want to hurt their feelings by telling them the truth.
Keeping me in that dark?
Yes, actually, some men believe that once they open up the truth, the wives may not be able to digest the truth the way it comes. So they try to wrap it up with a series of lies. They do it out of love. Some say they do it out of love.
Do you think I perceive it out of love?
And they want to protect their wives from knowing actually the truth, because the truth may even seem bitter. So they would rather keep away the truth and sugarcoat, the truth with some kind of lies as a way of. Sometimes some men say it is protective to their wives. They are protecting their feelings.
But is it actually protective?
No, I don't think. Because it should be more hurt. If she actually came to know that whatever you spoke of was total lies. it would hurt more. But that is one of the excuses that people give
As
to lie up,
protecting you.
to lie up with their spouses because they feel they want to protect you against you conceiving the truth in its bitter form. So that is an excuse that some men give. But I think so it's better. It's better for someone to know the truth, so that in case things unfolded the other way around, and they get to know, it will not as hurt as much.
Because honestly, I keep thinking, you're in Mbale, like you've said. Then you told me you're in Mbale, and yet you're in Kawali. So when I hear an accident has happened in Kawali, my mind is not, like I don't know. Then they tell you your husband was in the accident. Like, there are those basic things, and I think they're very painful. But what I don't understand is, you'll find that two friends know that you're in Kawali, but yet your wife or husband thinks you're in Mbale.
Exactly.
So why have we been able to trust friends more than our spouses?
So it also comes back to the way people perceive their friends. There are friends that would always be there, and they are very protective. They're very protective. I'm saying protective in a sense that they wouldn't want you. They would connive with their other friends, and for them they keep their secrets to themselves. And some men or some women may find that if they told their friends, the friends may keep the situation, or may contain the situation, or even keep the secrets more than what a spouse would have done. So they would rather speak the truth to the friend, who they know that they will not explode and blow something out of proportion. That I have a friend who would understand me more than a spouse would understand. So I can tell my friend anything, and they would never judge me. Then we have spouses that judge others.
That's spouses. That means even us as spouses, we have failed. We are judging our spouses.
Exactly.
So they don't find confidence in telling us things.
So that is why some people prefer that they keep some things to themselves, or their friends, they call the trusted friends, who they believe can contain whatever they tell them. So they find pleasure in telling the actual truth to their friends and lies to their spouses. So that is where people have reached. But the word of encouragement from us, the religious leaders, is that at the end of the day, it is your wife, it is your husband.
That's true.
Yeah, there are things that would actually happen, and the first person they would ask is your spouse. But how did these things come?
And poor man doesn't know anything.
They don't actually know anything. So we encourage people to, much as you have friends, but also to make your spouses more of your friends.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think that can also improve the institution of marriage and make it more interesting. Because I had a scenario where someone was discussing with me, and they said, for your marriage to last, you must marry your best friend. I'm sure, Fiona, you've heard of that. So even if you didn't marry your best friend, but you can create,
the one you married.
You can befriend the one you married and make her or him your best friend. Because I want to think of a situation where you always go to bed together. She's the last person you see before you fall asleep, and the first person you see when you wake up. So I think that is the person who should be closest to you.
Like your closest. I don't know if we've just derailed marriage completely, but I keep, if this person's life is actually in your hands, they can actually do anything to you at any one time. Okay? So if we don't have trust for these people, then how are we even sharing beds with these people? Because if I don't trust you, that means you can actually do anything to me.
Actually, talking about that, Fiona, people have reached a point of actually not eating food home because they feel their wives can actually poison them. We have people of that nature. We have people that even don't share a bed because mistrust has grown so severe that these people in the public are wife and husband, but to themselves, they are enemies. And this comes as a series of events that come building up. And also, poor communication that I began with. Someone, you know that there's a problem, you keep quiet to it, you say, we shall see how things unfold, and before you know it, it has gone to a level of people even separating bedrooms, and the man will never eat home.
Can
They
you
would,
imagine?
they would think that there is any time there is poison that can be put in their food. So we should really desist from such things and try to contend our situations before they get that far.
Because I can't imagine if I can't eat food home, then what am I up to? What is that? And talking about that, there's something you hinted about. I don't know if you've heard of men die and actually the wife doesn't know his account. They don't know, and friends end up taking these people's things.
Yeah, that's actually very common. It is very common with men and actually women.
Women,
it can't cut, it cuts across both
Yes, even
the
women.
men and the women. Because we've got to know of a story where a wife built actually rental units. And I don't know whether it was true, but she invited her husband to come, and he toured and says, I think we should take these premises as our home. So the family rented
From her house.
from her house.
And
And
they're
that when the
paying
man
her.
got to know, it did come in well with him.
I don't know what brings us to that level.
I think it also comes back to even sometimes the advice that we get from other people. You know, you may find friends or family that may advise wrongly and say, you have to leave something for yourself. It is very common with people giving wrong advice to their friends, and they actually create divisions and mistrust in other people's homes.
The level of mistrust that has actually reached our homes. We find a man dies, a woman dies, and the man doesn't even know that the woman has a plot of land somewhere that we have not declared. And you find even banks are complaining. They may not complain because the money works for them, but you find there's so many accounts.
Unclaimed accounts.
And yet it affects us as the individuals. You find people are struggling, yet your father's money is rotting in the bank and you don't know about it. How best can we work to get back to where God wanted marriage to be?
Okay, now, the whole idea of marriage, as God put it, is when He created Adam and Eve. And for Adam, He created Eve. He created Eve to be a companion and a helper, actually.
Yes.
And that was what Eve's role was meant to be. That she would help Adam with the great responsibility God had given them. So I think we should go back to that lining where we encourage people to use their spouses. For us, for example, men should give an opportunity to their wives to help them. By the way, there is some kind of, I want to call it the eighth sense that God has put in women. Sometimes,
You're so bright.
yes, sometimes a woman can actually get to know that there is trouble that we are heading to. And she can be able to warn her husband that, you know what, honey, I think there is trouble. Instinct is that eighth, I think, eighth sense. The eighth sense that ladies do have. So I think husbands should understand that if they give an opportunity to their wives, God can use them
Immensely.
Yes. And we can be able to create a difference and help in any way. So also trust, because if you do not trust your wife, the person that you know with your finances, to know that there is an extra bank account, what if you go? Would it be better for you if there is someone who is not in a way connected to you to eat that money?
That's true.
It should be your wife who will eat it with the children, your own blood. So I would encourage husbands to be open.
And wives also. These days, we have more things that we hide.
Yes, and also wives as well, because this cuts across. It cuts across. We should say spouses should be open to each other in regards to finances. And every time you put A and B together, that is when you can make, something out of it. But every time you put an A and the B fails to come, the level of involvement
And
will
you just
be less.
remove from the A.
Because we've seen families that cooperate and we put finances together, they evolve faster than families that actually keep resources to each other. So we encourage people to work together, to have joint effort, and also to declare some of these things. Because if you keep the money, who are you keeping it for?
That's true.
Because I think that we all work for ourselves and for our families. So if you're keeping the money away from your family because you don't want them to know, then would you want strangers to eat that money? So we encourage people to understand that when the worst comes to the worst, it is family. You know, I was talking to someone and I questioned them about the situation when if they, God forbid, crippled. Wouldn't it be their wives to take care of them? So it will still come back to family. When the world has rejected you,
it is only family.
Your family will remain. So people should invest more in it and give it time and give it more resources, because at the end of the day, it is family. Friends will be there, yes, they help, but there's a time where friends have, restriction. For example, if you're going for an operation, they will say, who are the family members of this person? Let them come and consent.
Who's going to sign? Yes.
Who is going
they won't
to
ask
consent?
your friend.
They will not ask your friend however
That's
much you
true.
have them. So people should understand that and give a special place for their families and their spouses. Because at the end of the day, it will be you and your spouse and your family.
Actually, your spouse, because even the children leave us at home.
Oh, actually,
they leave us. They leave us and go, but at the end of it all, it's the two of you.
Yes.
So, now, Reverend, how do we rebuild this trust, or is it even possible to build it up?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you can retrieve it. It is possible that people have worked. So many people have worked their way back to trust after things have happened in their lives, and certainly things went wrong, but they try as much as possible. Secondly, your behavior. You can change through your behavior. You treat and show the other person that you have changed. Your behavior reflects what you speak. Yes, if you are coming back at 8, before then you went and started coming back at midnight, and then when you reform and start coming back even much earlier than even 8, your behavior can show that there's actually some kind of change, and someone can little by little start to grip along with you in your new journey. So, and also try as much as we can to distance ourselves from lies, because what we feel that will not be known, certainly it will come out to be known. So if we try as much as we can to say, okay, we are now speaking the truth and nothing but the truth. With time, your spouse can get to know that actually what I was doubting was the truth. It was the truth there time, it was the truth this time, it is the truth. Yes. So that can also help as much to bring people back online. And someone will say, if he told me the truth the other time, and maybe he's also speaking the truth for this third time. Yes. And little by little, that one can work out. Then also giving our spouses a treat. A treat will also soften someone's heart and say, yes, my husband loves me and my wife loves me. You see, he has even, spared time for this. So people look at this issue of treat, giving your spouse a treat, as something that is minor or something that comes secondary. But I feel people should take it with more concern. That those are the things that bring us together.
Yes. Maybe for my viewers, what treat are you talking about? Okay, this one is just me. I'm just excited. But what treats can we learn?
Okay, now you can take your wife out on a picnic. You could have a dinner. You see such things that someone is not expecting, but you treat them well. You take them for dinner. You take them for picnic. You take them for trips. Moments that create more time with your spouse. That is what actually I mean with the treat. So that you can open up and apologize, the more without having distractions. And you speak more profoundly with one another. It can mend those broken tissues of marriage. Supposing we are having a moment and we go for a vacation, me and my wife. Certainly if I am angered, I could use that moment to tell
To bring it down.
Yeah, to mend our differences. If someone can say, hey, much as this man has done this for me, there's something, special about him.
He
And
has
that can
thought
also,
about this, and
it can build the trust back. So people that take that lightly, for me, I say it is a vital element in marriage. Once in a while, do it. Do it. It can create magic. And it has created magic in so many people. You see, memories that are created last. Yes, they do last. So
and if you like getting something is coming like, and you remember anything, you're like, okay.
Let me give him benefit of doubt. I think kino kyamusobyeko naye omusajja ono anjagala ne luli yantwala. He's giving me time. So that is also one way that we can focus on mending the mistrust. We should also try as much as we can to involve elders in some of these things. There is some piece of knowledge that elders may bring, and also the confidence that the spouse can have that abakadde be bamanyi era bamanyi tutufuba. You shouldn't handle issues and you say this ends on us. Possibly you could talk that with the elders and let them advise, let them talk to you. Those elders can be able to bring out some of these elements that you could have looked at to be very difficult, but they can simplify the theory for you. So people should seek counsel from elders if you still have them.
But can we get back to where we are if, let me say, if we've lost the trust and we're not even eating food at home, can we actually make our way back to where we started?
It is very possible, because remember, sometimes time heals. Time heals. So the more you grow, the more the reality of life will catch up with you. For you to know that I have no option but to end up with my husband or wife, because I'm growing. I'm taking an example of someone who is a little younger and they think they have an opportunity to remarry. And their chances are still high. But as they grow, they realize that I have no any other option left. I can hardly get another spouse at this age. So that can also trigger them, to put themselves right and say, let's work on this trust issue and let's mend ways of how we can make this thing work, because we have no option.
We are in this for life.
Yes, we are in this
or till death.
Yes, they are so people are more jumpy, I think, when they still feel that there's someone else that can take them off the shelf again.
So you disturb them like, shut. There are many people who are waiting for me.
I am still young and energetic. I can actually get someone else to sweep me off my feet. So, but as they grow, people start to realize that we have no option but to make this work. Otherwise, we shall be single fathers, we shall be single mothers. Let's make this work. So it is possible for people that who are at logheads before actually come to speak to themselves and say, you know what, we are looking at creating a difference because we have no option. Also the vows that we make in church, bad, in poor, in rich, in sickness and health, those ones also mean a lot to us. Someone can always reflect on them and say, I took the vows.
I say till death.
I say till death do us
So either I kill you or we make it work.
Or we make it. So that has also helped some people, and actually it has made our grandparents. Those people believed so much in the vows they made then. Yes. You will find someone celebrating golden jubilee, silver jubilee, not because they don't have troubles, but because they hold the vows to be sacred. I don't know what is happening today.
Yes, I actually don't know.
People
we have lightened them so much that you say them very many times.
Exactly. So I think people should go back to the old traditional ways of meaning the vows they made, so that the institution of marriage can actually get its real true meaning as it was intended to be. Yes.
So Reverend, as we come to a conclusion of this, what would be your advice to the people out there who are watching us today?
The advice I would give to people is that for us to believe in sacred power of God, who makes the impossibilities to become possibilities. With God, all things are possible. You know, you may think that the marriage is irretrievable and you cannot go, it can't get back. But God has the power to change everything.
Yes.
The miracles that we read of in the Bible in the past times are still present amidst us. So people should pray to God that their marriages should be preserved by God Himself, the initiator of marriages. So people should seek God more. People should create more time together to speak about these issues so that they do not put themselves in a time of exploding. So communication should be more often, and good communication with one another so that they can curb the vice or curb the error that may befall them in future. So people should get closer in speech, in actions, and in the way they relate with one another so that mistrust is curbed.
Interesting. Any last remarks for our congregants at St. Barnabas?
Yes, we encourage people to wed. In Uganda, we have more people that are cohabiting more than those that are actually officially wedded. It is a call for us that we should find the benefit of actually true marriage, because it makes more sense if that person you're cohabiting with becomes your official wife. So we are encouraging people to join the institution of marriage because it is so sweet, it is so nice, and it is so satisfying. So we pray for them that God can show them the way, and they should also come and embrace. Let them come and make a new beginning in the marriage life and see how best God. And God, the Bible tells us, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor before the Lord. So let people join marriage so that the true favor from the Lord can follow them in their ways.
Wow. Thank you very much, Reverend. Thank you so much for your time and for your very beautiful insights into this whole issue about mistrust in marriage. And for our viewers, I hope you have picked something. Clearly, me, I have, and I'm sure my marriage won't stay the same. So let us embrace each other, spend time together. Also, speak about those things before they become mountains, because they can be very small and it grows very big. So speak about them. Take us for treats, as he has said. Also, ladies, it's okay to take your husband for a treat. It cannot kill you. So take your husband for a treat and let us make our marriages better. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Fiona Mbowa here at Church of Uganda Family TV with Ring Diaries.